The Los Angeles Rams had their final road game of the regular season, sitting at 8-6, heading out to New York, taking on the New York Jets. 4-10 record for the Jets, coming off a win last week. This game's being played at MetLife Stadium, 10 a.m. kickoff time on CBS. Kevin Harlan, Trent Green, and Melanie Collins will be on the call. And to my surprise, we have a large area this week as far as television coverage goes. Rams and Jets in the red zones this week. So large area. Seems like this could be, I think this is an underrated matchup at this point of the season, considering the Jets are, kind of playing some decent ball these last 2 weeks. So I think this is going to be some fun stuff. But heads up, cold game alert. All right, we have a high of 23 expected in East Rutherford, New Jersey, about 20 at kickoff, and should remain about there the entire time, although we are looking at sunny skies. You bettors, the Rams are -3, -174 on the money line, and the over-under sitting at 46.5. So it doesn't seem like I'll be honest, I thought this line was going to be a little bit bigger. Maybe the Rams' offensive output against the 49ers on Thursday Night Football in the most recent week's action, maybe that's kind of deterring Vegas a little bit, but -3, I think I'm liking that, actually. So what we're kind of looking for here, there's a lot of things we're looking for here. This is Stafford versus Rodgers, man. So former division rivals, that's pretty exciting stuff. And I know that they're not on the field at the same time, but it is rather cool. Rodgers does lead the all-time series head-to-head against Matthew Stafford. That is 13-4. Dramatic difference there. Rodgers versus Stafford, though, has only happened in Los Angeles. For Stafford in L.A., only the one time. That was the 2021 season, but that was when Rodgers was a Green Bay Packer. We have not seen a Stafford-Rodgers Rams-Jets matchup yet, so this is going to be the first time. History of this meeting. This is the 16th all-time meeting between the Rams and the Jets. The Rams lead the all-time series 10-5. The most recent meeting between these two, it was Jets at the Rams. That was December 20th of 2020. Remember that game? It was a 23-20 win by the New York Jets. And funny enough, that the Jets are kind of in a weird, almost similar situation going into this season, or going into this part of the season, in a game against the Rams, where it's like, oh yeah, the Rams should win that game. But it's like, these AFC opponents have been a little bit of a thorn in our side, I think. You look at like the Miami Dolphins game, and I guess that's maybe it. So I was more confident in that. I guess the Bills game, I was just in my brain the whole time. It was like, that's going to be so hard. But, that one worked out, so that's pretty cool. But last time these teams met, though, the Jets were able to pull off the win. So ruined the Jets' chances at Trevor Lawrence. But does that even matter anymore, man? Does it even matter anymore? I really like Trevor Lawrence, and I think that the Jags are kind of ruining him, and I think that's why he's overrated in a sense. I think he needs to go to a different team. That's neither here nor there. So talk about this history, though, this matchup. The Jets have won 3 of the last 4 against the Rams, but before that stretch, the Rams had won 7 straight, and that was leading from 1983 to 2005. Last time the Rams beat the Jets, that was in 2016, November 13th to be specific. That was a 9-6 win for the Rams. So high flying action, man. You can't avoid that. It's awesome. First ever game these two teams played was November 15th of 1970. That was a 31-20 win by the Jets. The Rams have played the Jets really late in the season, almost every single time. It's always been October or later, but most of the time it's actually November or later. And there was only 2 times that it was before that, and that was they played in week 4 in both 1983 and 1992. But that was the earliest in the season this matchup's ever happened. So I'm telling you that because I'm telling you when the Rams and Jets play again, I don't know why these trends kind of tend to happen, but when you're making your schedule prediction to try to score those free season tickets that the Rams do, maybe just put the Jets a little bit later. Just push them into like November, December time. I think that'll work out nice. Some storylines that we're watching in this one. The Jets are coming off of their best offensive performance of the season for sure. That was last week against the Jags and Trevor Lawrence. Well, it was actually Mac Jones. Trevor Lawrence is hurt. So I misspoke there. That's my bad. Rams are coming off a win, but no touchdowns in that win, but a little bit of an extra break. This is off of our mini bye because we played Thursday Night Football. I talked about that last week that I absolutely hate Thursday Night Football. I think it's not something that we need every single week. I love it for like Thanksgiving and events and stuff like that. Don't think it needs to be every single week, but it's kind of nice at this point of the season because with 3 games to go, we were able to get a little bit of an extra little stretch there, and then it's at the Jets, and then 2 home games, 2 home divisional games, but 2 home games. And I kind of like this little mini bye before you just kind of have to wrap up the season. So a big fan of that. This matchup does feel sneaky good, like I had kind of mentioned. I think each team kind of plays into its opponent's strengths a little bit. So what the Jets are bad at is something that the Rams have been struggling against. So it all kind of meshes together, and I'm actually not entirely sure what to really anticipate from this game as far as a game plan goes from either side, Jets or Rams. I'm not totally sure where each team is going to want to attack, except for Davante Adams coming off of his big week. But we'll get into the offensive matchup, their offensive matchup against our defense here in just a moment. But like the Rams, having a hard time stopping the run. I mean, like I said, that's kind of like that. We've had trouble with that better recently, in fairness. Ever since Saquon went off on us, we've been doing a lot better job every single week. But the Jets, under 90 a game, I mean, that's kind of tough to handle. But they're kind of on an upswing in that regard as well. The Rams able to attack through the air, though, and they are going against the 5th best pass defense. Stuff like that, man, is what I'm trying to say. So, like, it seems like what we're good at, they're good at defending. What they're bad at, we're bad at defending kind of thing is what I'm trying to get at there. But let's take a look at the matchup here. We got the Rams offense going against the Jets defense. And Rams offense, of course, coming off of a pretty rough outing, but still sitting at 13th in the league, going against the 7th-ranked total defense by the Jets. Passing the ball, top 10 unit for Matthew Stafford and the gang, but a top 5 unit defending the pass for Sauce Gardner and those boys out there for the Jets. Running the rock, over 100 for the Rams, a little over 105. That's tied for 22nd against the 16th. Middle of the road run defense for the Jets. Points being put up, the Rams putting up just over 22 a game. That's 17th in the league. And Jets giving up a little over 23. That's 18th in the league. Third down conversion rates. Rams sitting near the bottom here, tied for 24th with just a little over 35%. And the Jets are giving up 37-4. That is 14th in the league. So Jets defense definitely doesn't get the flowers that they kind of deserve in some ways, but I mean, it's a 4-win team, so I'm not trying to trash anybody here or anything like that, but it's a 4-win team. They do have a really good defense, though. That is something to watch. Sauce Gardner coming off of a game where he got his first pick of the season, so maybe he's feeling a little bit more loose, so we'll see how that all goes, but defense has been their strength of the Jets for sure. They have done well, have done well on offense in the last few weeks, but their last 2 games have been their games where they've given up also the most passing yards. So while their offense is also taking a jump right now, their defense is giving up a lot more passing yards than they had all season. They're certainly capable of getting got in the run game. The Rams are, the Jets are. They're certainly capable of getting got in the run game. They get stuffed a lot there. Coming off of a game of 125 though. But before that, had 3 straight games of under 100. Rams coming off of a 160-yard passing day against the San Francisco 49ers. There was definitely weather, and that's what we'll say, all right? We'll say it was weather, all right? Because it seemed like Matthew Stafford wanted to turn the ball over there for a little while in the first half. He was like, hey, man, chill those out. But they kind of commented on it, too, that, with the rain and stuff like that, it's like Stafford doesn't make those throws. Like, he does not do that. It's weather related, you know what I mean? So, and Rams have not had to deal with bad weather, cold really at all this year. So I do think that was a big factor. Rams also have no turnovers in the last 3 games and only 1 in the last 5. And that was that they have 12 on the season, but no turnovers in the last 3 games. Matthew Stafford has not turned the ball over in his last 5 starts, which is absolutely incredible. And like I said, only 1 in the last 5 games, which is absolutely awesome. That was Kyren Williams on a fumble. The Jets defense, though, has 4 turnovers in the last 3 games. They had 2 last week and then 2 3 weeks ago. So that's kind of where we're sitting right there. Best matchup on this one, I'm going with the Jets edge rushers against the Rams tackles. Mainly, I'm looking here at Will McDonald IV versus A.J. Jackson. That left tackle spot is going to be a fun one to watch. This is going to be a fun battle this weekend for sure, dude. So McDonald, pretty versatile in his rushes. He's also, there's plays where he's backing up into coverage or, kind of playing a little bit of a spy role. He's not going to need to spy Matthew Stafford, of course, but we have seen Stafford turn up the turbo a little bit these last few weeks. But that also, you don't need to spy Matthew Stafford, so I'm getting at here. Jackson, certainly not a weak link in the Rams offensive line, but honestly, if I had to pick a weak link of this Rams offensive line, I mean, I think I'd go Bo Limmer just off of default settings because dude's a rookie. I think it's just an experience pick at that point. You know what I mean? So we got that going for us. Great offensive line right now, and everybody's healthy. So big news, man. Just feels like one of those, if the Rams win this matchup, stop, Will McDonald IV from just destroying souls out there, that they've got a good chance to win. It kind of just feels like one of those matchups. Like, win this, and you got a good chance to have more points than the opponent on the back end of the game here. Let's take a look at the 3-2C. We'll start with Kyren Williams, of course, running back, kind of killing it right now. Kyren has been, ever since that game where he had those 2 fumbles, and Rams fans were falling out on Kyren Williams. Rams fans were like, we need to see Blake, and Kyren can't hold on to the ball. What's going on here? Kyren, though, absolutely on fire right now, and one thing to look for when it comes to Kyren and against this Jets defense is the Jets give up red zone touchdowns 60% of the time, and Kyren is a little bit of a red zone assassin. So when the Rams get down there, if all the rushing touchdowns, except for now Puka has one, have come from Kyren. So when the Rams do get into that area, look for him. And then, of course, like I said, 60% of the time, you're getting in every time against the New York Jets. So definitely watch for Kyren when it gets to the red zone. Jets also give up a quarter of their 4th down defensive attempts. We've seen Stafford taking most of those in a little bit of a sneak situation. But at what point do you kind of be like, all right, we've been playing with fire. Let's just go ahead and run our running backs instead, because we've seen, 3 QB sneaks from Stafford over the last X amount of weeks. I'm not sure exactly how far back those go, but we've seen that a decent amount lately. And again, we're just kind of playing with fire. Let's just put in Kyren about that. All right, let's get a little less danger in here. All right, as we head into the postseason with our old quarterback. All right, let's call it what he is. He's an older dude, but he's absolutely killing it. So there's that part. We're also going to go with Cooper Kupp next up on the 3-2C. Everyone talking about the Cooper Kupp 0 reception game. I know in this fantasy world that we are in, it might sound like Cooper Kupp had just a terrible day. What a loser, dude. 0 receptions out here. That's not really the case. You watch the game again. It didn't. I said we have 160 passing yards, dude. So you factor all that stuff in and then also watch the game. And when the Rams kind of knew that it wasn't going to be a high-flying day, game plan changed, started running the rock, and Cooper Kupp became this just a Swiss Army knife of not getting receptions or touching footballs, but instead opening it up for others, dude. So that was absolutely awesome to see. Obviously, we know that Cooper Kupp and his run blocking and then blocking after one of his teammates makes the catch, absolutely top tier. So I'm not really worried about all that stuff. But of course, he is a wideout. So you want to get wideouts to do wideout things, which is, catching footballs. And so I do think that there will be, I don't want to say an overcorrection, but a correction coming into this week, coming off of a zero reception day from Cooper Kupp, something that I want to say he hasn't seen since 2017, that he had a game that he played in that didn't have a reception in. I think that's the date that I saw. Might go back, maybe that sounds right. 2017 does sound right for that. But either way, his presence was still very much felt. It seemed like the 49ers were just kind of desperate not to let him get loose. But joke's on them because Puka is sick as hell, man. So nice try, 49ers. It did not work. And also, just look for more looks this week. Sauce will get both of those guys. Sauce is going to get Cooper Kupp. He's also going to get Puka Nacua. That should be a fun matchup to watch no matter what. But because of the 0 reception game, I'm looking for Cooper Kupp this week. And last up on the offensive side for the 3-2C, you knew where this was going. Big Rig Higgs making his return to the football field for the first time since Kirby Joseph did what Kirby Joseph does take out tight ends. So that's real exciting. But Tyler Higbee, of course, making his way back to practice. Again, I'm not sure if there's going to be any rust on the big rig, so to speak here. But either way, I do think that he's going to be pretty involved in the game plan. We'll at least see things that are on purpose now being run because Tyler Higbee is back. And I don't feel like the Tyler Higbee return is getting enough love from the national media. It feels like Rams fans are like, this is huge. And the rest of the media is like, okay, you wait, okay, rest of the media. Sunday's going to be sick. And it's all because of Big Rig Higgs. And if you're a person who doesn't normally know what to watch for when you're watching a play unfold, I urge you to watch 89 this weekend because his impact in the run game will absolutely be felt immediately. But also that little thing where he's pass blocking and then just turns around and looks at Stafford and catches footballs and then turns it upfield, dude. That's like the coolest part is that he does that. I've never really seen that play kind of be run as often and as successfully as Stafford to Higbee are able to do it. Because it's coming across back to the middle of the field. Usually it's when Stafford's kind of going out and then the pass comes back in like towards the hashes where Tyler Higbee's standing there and then he's turning up and it feels like a good 15 every time. So absolutely love that. Watch for that. It's going to be some fun stuff. But let's head over to the other side of the football here. We got the Jets offense going against the Rams defense. The Jets offense has definitely been playing well in recent weeks, but according to their season averages, looking at 24th total offense going against the Rams, 25th total defense. A solid matchup there. Passing the football, Aaron Rodgers, 18th in the league in that regard, has started every game for the Jets this year. Rams defense, 20th against the pass. Running the ball, less than 90 yards a game for the Jets offense. Can't believe that that's 31st. There's a team worse than that. Guys, get it together. But the Rams giving up 135 a game. Thanks, Saquon. As the average sitting at 28 right, or the ranking sitting at 28 right now. Points being put up. Jets putting up just over 20 a game. It's 22nd. And Rams giving up over 24. That is 24th in the league. And on third down conversions, this is where the Jets are doing a solid job. 12th in the NFL, almost 40%. And the Rams are giving up almost 40%. That is tied for 18th. Rams defense is definitely coming off of its best day, but worst day offensively. So whatever, I guess. It's, I'm glad that happened the same day. Otherwise, bad things would probably have happened in that game. So that's good news. Worst pass defense day by miles this season was the Bills. That was a 342 day, but the Jets' best passing day was 319 against the Miami Dolphins, a divisional game. And we also know that Bills game was a little bit of an anomaly out there. You know what I mean? Kind of not necessarily to the level of the Chiefs Rams game, but this one was very much a no defense kind of game because there were no turnovers and no sacks by either team. But that was the biggest day that the Rams had given up against the pass, 342 to Josh Allen. And probably league MVP right there. So I guess whatever, you know what I mean? But Jets coming off of the second best rushing day in a win against the Jaguars. Jets offense has hit 400 total yards in the last two games. Like I said, their average is just 307 a game on the season, but have put up 400 in consecutive games. So something to watch for there. Jets also no turnovers in the last two games. So that's something to keep our eye on. And the Rams defense has only one turnover in the last four games. This is something that the Rams defense has been really good at for most of the season, but only one in the last four games. Before that four-game stretch, before all that happened, Rams had 11 turnovers in the last 5 games. So definitely a dip in that regard. We kind of know that turnovers are one of those things that kind of tend to come in bunches. And maybe this is one where we can start that rhythm going as we head into the postseason. Would be a good time to get those bunches rolling right now. But like I mentioned it as well, since Saquon's big day against the Rams a couple weeks back, Rams have steadily given up less rushing yards each game. And Jets coming off of a 125-yard rushing day but hadn't hit 100 in the previous 4 straight games. So definitely something to keep our eyes on there. And this Rams run defense has been playing really solid. And I know that the 49ers were down like 8 running backs or whatever, but definitely, I mean, that's the talent was still there, man. So I mean, just doing a good job of just stuffing up the run lanes and stuff like that. And obviously, when somebody like CMC is in there, it's a different situation. But he wasn't, so I don't know what you want from me. I don't know what you want from me, man. But also, I think that coming off of a big day and a win for the Jets, I think that draft position is no longer a big concern for them. And I actually don't think it really was a concern for them at all, because they fired Robert Saleh in the early portion of the year. They've got Brick in there right now as the interim guy. And let's be real, probably not returning, right? They're already doing GM interviews, and this coach and this staff is likely not returning. So why would any of them care about future draft picks for the Jets that they're not even going to see? They're not even going to make those picks. So they don't care where the Jets draft in April. They want to win some football games, man. These guys are trying to get jobs out here. So I don't think that we see any player or any coach on this team that wants to lose for the Jets. I just don't think we see that. Where they're sitting right now, it does seem like the top draft picks, with like the Panthers and the Giants and the Raiders and stuff like that, those are the teams that are going to be picking really, really high. The Jets, with that win against the Jaguars, kind of push themselves out of that range a little bit. So, and then you factor that in with the fact that most of these people are not going to be returning. It's possible that Aaron Rodgers doesn't return. Devontae Adams doesn't return. So why would any of them care what pick the Jets have in the draft? Not buying any of that. So if you think the Jets are going to roll over for a draft pick, I'm not buying that one bit. Are we a better football team than the Jets? Yeah, probably. All right. But that also doesn't necessarily guarantee anything. It doesn't guarantee anything. So just keep that in mind when you're watching the game on Sunday. All right, that's all I ask. That's all I ask. Best matchup here. We're going to go with Adams and Wilson versus Darius Williams and Kobe Durant, who has been officially cleared to return to practice. So it does look like him. But I put Kobe Durant, Ahkello Witherspoon. I was waiting for some news there, but Kobe did get cleared to play. But we should see a good chunk of Ahkello as well. Either way, though, no matter who's being covered by who, whether it's Williams on Wilson, Williams on Adams, Ahkello on Adams, Ahkello on whatever the combo happens to be, Adams starting to get a really solid rhythm with Aaron Rodgers, so that's something to keep our eye on. Also, Wilson is an awesome receiver. I don't think he gets the love that I think he kind of deserves around the rest of the league. I think he's an extremely talented wide receiver, Garrett Wilson, man. I'm a big fan. If he ever found his way over to the Rams, I wouldn't be sad about that. That can happen. But he's taken full advantage of having Adams getting some eyeballs from the secondary players. So Wilson definitely, he's doing what Puka and Cooper do. I mean, this is a great combo as well. The Adams and Wilson. It's not Cooper and Puka for sure, but very, very solid combo, and definitely something the Rams are going to have their hands full with when it comes to these corners, especially considering the 20th ranked pass defense coming from the Rams. It's also likely to see some mix match into here, but again, these wideouts are just really good. These are the kind of guys that can ruin your day, though. Like, if you think the Jets are just going to come in soft because they're already out of the postseason, I just don't. They're coming off a big day, big win. Draft position be damned. This coaching staff won't be able to reap the benefits anyway, so I don't think it really matters to them. But yeah. Let's go into the 3 to C here, man. So Jared Verse. We're going to start with Jared Verse because I like to put him on here every week. Because why the hell not, dude? 3 to C, you should be watching Jared Verse. All right? You should be. That's just the way it is. Rams coming off of the no-sack day against Buffalo, and then poor Brock had to feel the heat on that one, man. But no sacks for Verse last week, which means a few weeks in a row that he has not gotten a sack. So I'm looking for him to get that battle between him and Fisk going a little bit, get that a little bit more juicy as these guys are having their little sack race amongst themselves. And I think Jared falling a little bit behind in that regard. think he's going to be coming for Aaron Rodgers for sure. Going against Fashanu. And I don't know. I like it, man. I like this matchup. Fashanu definitely no slouch, man. But Jared is out here pushing around top 5 guys. And he's here to destroy your soul. And sorry about it, Aaron Rodgers. But your soul, get destroyed, dude. That's what's happening. Next up, Kobe Turner. Turner is coming off of a real big day, man. We all do it ourselves. I hope you do as well whenever he gets a sack. Oh, man. I absolutely love it. It's the conductor, man. He's conducting some madness in the backfield. I know that much. Aaron Rodgers, man, he's this is a tough one, man. Going against the fearsome 2020 foursome of the LA Rams, full of just first and second year guys. That's absolutely insane, man. So I think Kobe Turner, though, definitely on fire right now. He's really slipping into a nice little groove, and a big reason that the Rams run defense has turned it around. He is playing much better in the run game than he was in the beginning of the season. And you can just see it by the way that he's kind of allowing other guys to make the play. It's not necessarily him always needing to make the play. He's allowing Christian Roseboom to come in and make a good tackle by eating up 2 guys. You know what I mean? So Kobe Turner, obviously, big piece of this Rams defense. He's not a captain on accident, all right? He didn't get the C on his patch because he just picked up the wrong jersey, all right? He earned that bad boy, and we're seeing exactly why. Last up on the defensive side for the 3 to C, Christian Roseboom. That's right, my dude Boom. All right, love this dude for sure, man. I'm so stoked that he's turned his season around and that Rams fans are back on the Roseboom train. All right, it was lonely there for a while, and there is plenty of seats here. All right, so hop on this bandwagon because Christian Roseboom is so sick, dude. He seems to be getting better and better every single week. I absolutely love that. And it seems like there's like 1, 2, 3 plays a game that make me say, hell yeah, Boom, because I'm drinking beers and stuff, obviously. So I'm like saying stuff. I'm getting crazy out there, man. And I've been a Christian Roseboom fan for this whole season for a few years now. And now to see him actually performing how I always felt like he could is rather exciting, man. So that's been really fun, man. But dude is out here cracking skulls and crushing souls. And I think that I'm officially now not only on the I support Roseboom train, but I think I'm on the extend Roseboom train. All right. The extend Roseboom train. All right. Because now being the leave Roseboom alone, that phase doesn't really make any sense anymore. He's got a lot of fan support, which I'm absolutely stoked for. Let's take a look at some connections in this game. Former Rams who are now on the Jets. Greg Zuerlein, Greg the Leg, Young Jeezy, Legatron, whatever you want to call him, man. Yeah, he's kicking footballs for the Jets, of course. But Greg Zuerlein, I got a Super Bowl Media Day jersey sitting in my closet right here. Absolutely love that. I am getting frames, so I got to put that bad boy up. I got to try to find a space. I don't know if I can. I have to maybe move some flags or something, man. I'm out of wall space, dude. Everything is covered. I got to figure that out, man. But of course, Greg the Leg, only points in Super Bowl 53 for the Rams, coming off of his foot there. Also, defensive lineman Takk McKinley. I don't know if you remember when Takk McKinley was a Ram. It was very brief. It was like that Simpsons meme where the grandpa walks in, puts his hat, and then like takes off. That was Takk McKinley's time as a Los Angeles Ram. Former Jets who are on the Rams, we have offensive lineman Connor McDermott, offensive coordinator Mike LaFleur, and offensive assistant Rob Calabrese. So nothing too insane there. We got, a backup lineman and our offensive coordinator, Mike LaFleur. I cannot not say cramming up your cram hole, LaFleur. I can't, dude. It's a sickness, I think. I don't know what to tell you. There was really no good NFL connections that I could find, none that really stuck out to me. So let's take a look at the college connections here, as Akello Witherspoon played at Colorado with Isaiah Oliver. Cam Kinchins played at Miami with defensive lineman Leonard Taylor III. Blake Corum and Josh Wallace played at Michigan with Braden McGregor. Jonah Jackson played at Ohio State with tight end Jeremy Ruckert and wide receiver Garrett Wilson. Bobby Brown played at A&M with defensive lineman Michael Clemens, Gig'em Aggies. Justin Dedich played at USC with Elijah Vera Tucker. Tutu Atwell, the 2-2 train, played at Louisville with quarterback Jordan Travis, Jordan Travis played at FSU with Braden Fisk and Jared Verse. Puka Nacua played at Washington with linebacker Jackson Sermon, and A.J. Jackson played at Iowa with Brandon Smith. So it's pretty cool connections there. Anytime I get to mention my Aggies, thrilled about that. Anytime I get to do this for Tutu, that's always exciting. And I think this is the first time we've had a Colorado connection. So that's rather exciting. I'm a Colorado kid. All right. That's why that's exciting. I realize I'm like covered in LA stuff right now, but being out here in Colorado, I like to see it, man. I like to see it. So look at some milestones here as we wrap up your game preview before we get into this conversation with Boy Green, big old Jets fan, for this matchup going on this weekend. Matthew Stafford needs 47 passing yards to pass Kurt Warner for 6th most in Rams history. He is 1,713 short of Norm Van Brocklin for 5th. He needs 3 passing touchdowns to tie Bob Waterfield for 7th most in Rams history. He is 8 short of Kurt Warner in 6th place. With 3 games on the season, that is certainly reachable. Also, 12th in interceptions in Rams history. I found that rather exciting, considering that he's already 8th in touchdowns, but only 12th in interceptions. That means good things have happened for Matthew Stafford as a Ram. All right, so that's good news. He also did reach the longest streak of games with no turnovers in his career, with 5 straight games, no turnovers. And he is now 11-1 in December as the Rams starting quarterback and 16-3 as the Rams starting quarterback in December and January since arriving for that 2021 season. Kyren Williams, the first Rams running back to record 100-plus rushing yards against the 49ers since C.J. Anderson 2018. That's pretty cool stuff. He needs 63 rushing yards to pass Jim Bertelsen for 16th in Rams history. He's still a young guy, too, so we're on a rookie contract. So being 16th or 17th now and getting into that range is pretty cool, man. Kyren Williams, he's killing it. He also needs 4 rushing touchdowns to tie Roman Gabriel and Dick Hayner for 10th in Rams history. So getting in there, man. It's like I said, he's on his rookie contract. He's still a young dude, so a lot of cool things can happen. If he returns, we'll get to that in the offseason. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. We don't need to think about that right now. Okay, we got a playoff run to talk about. Quentin Lake needs just 1 tackle on Sunday to be the 11th defensive back in Rams history to record 100-plus tackles. The most recent was Jordan Fuller, who is president. Offensive line, this is an interesting one that popped in. With 0 sacks on Sunday, the Rams offensive line would have 3 consecutive games without giving up a sack. This would be the second longest streak in Rams history and the first time that the Rams had a streak that long since 2013. So that would be the longest streak since returning back to Los Angeles, of course. Puka Nacua needs 195 yards to hit 1,000 on the season. Of course, with the amount of games he missed, that's pretty sick, so I'll take it. Kobe Turner currently tied for 27th in Rams history in sacks, and with just 1, that'll bump him up to 22. It's a bit of a logjam right there in that range there. And we are still on what we call Record Watch. That's right. Christian Roseboom is currently on pace for 145.7 tackles on the season, per his average of 8.57 on the season so far. Obviously, we can round that up to 146. That feels at least reasonable in some capacity, and that does consider that he's only getting about 8.5 a game for these last 3. So if he's getting more than that, we're in good spot here, as 146 would set the single-season tackle record in Rams history. That mark currently 145, set by Ernest Jones just last year. And it was also set recently by Bobby Wagner. So, yeah, lots of tackles coming from linebackers, which is, in fairness, where you want to see your tackles get got, right? You don't want your safeties getting all your tackles. That's probably bad news, all right? All right, before we move into our fan cases, we got a conversation with Boy Green. This is the host of the Jet Zone podcast. He does everything, all right? So I'm just going to guide you to him, okay? I could go on and on and on about all the stuff that this dude does, but it's just, he's everywhere, all right? Boy Green, one of my best friends. I've actually never met him in person, but we've been working with each other for well over a decade now in terms of just covering our teams. We joined a website, truelovesports.com, together. Mark Wilson brought us both on. I was in first, and then Paul came in a little bit later. We both were writers at the time. He was writing about the Jets. I was writing about the Rams. We kind of rose the ranks and both became editors of the NFL. So we were kind of running the NFL section of this website together. And then the website ended up going away, and me and Paul both decided it's like we still got to do something, man. And then I was wanting to start a podcast. I'm not sure if he already had one or if he was looking to start one with the Jet Zone. But we decided to start our podcast network, which is Sports War Radio. So me and Boy Green have been holding this thing down for years. And like I said, one of my best friends, I've been able to make some incredible videos for him that to announce, the birth of children and stuff, or like pregnancy announcements and stuff. So cool. If you haven't seen those, I'll link them below or something, because it's absolutely awesome. But again, I can't say enough good things about Boy Green and Paul. Man, I have nothing bad to say at all. I like his entire family. Everybody's awesome. His dad's cool. His wife's cool. His kids are cool. They're all cool. But I hope that they are sad on Sunday after a big old loss to the Los Angeles Rams. But let's go ahead and get into it. Conversation with Boy Green talking up Rams versus Jets week 17 or 16 action.
We are heading into week 16 of the NFL season, which kind of pains me a little bit to say. We're already near the end here, but plenty of action to go, and a big old football game going on this weekend, and really the only cold game for the Rams all year, which I'll kind of take, but a little bit unfortunate. Going to be a little bit chilly in East Rutherford, New Jersey this weekend when the Rams take on the Jets. And joining me to talk about this game, of course, Boy Green. What's up, man?
Man, Sheriff Joe Beggs, it's been far too long since we've had one of these, battles, these dances of us on opposite sides. So it's long overdue. It's a lot of fun, and I see things are going well for the Rams, not so well for the Jets.
Yeah, man. We were looking at this game early season as oh, this is going to be a throwaway, but Rams have turned it around. I was hoping that the Jets would, and that has not happened. Coming off of I would say a fun, an interesting game to watch last week. How are you guys feeling coming out of that one into this game?
It's funny. A lot of the predictions heading into Jets-Jags 3-10 team versus 3-10 team was, oh, wow, this is going to be a pillow fight. Jags win or Jets win like 16-14 or something. And then touchdowns are going left and right. And it's exploding. So your word was right. Fun. It was exciting. There was big plays on both sides. The Jets defense was Swiss cheese. Mac Jones is doing weird childlike TikTok dancing celebrations, which was paining me because I've always hated Mac Jones' guts. And then, Aaron Rodgers all of a sudden said, hey, Davante Adams, let me throw to that guy. And then it blew up. So it was a lot of fun. And quite frankly, Joe, I think it reinvigorated Jet fans and the Jets themselves. That was their first win since Halloween, and we're days away from Christmas. So I think it really reinvigorated the fan base of saying, while in some respects, the Jets are mathematically eliminated, but like, F it, let's just win a bunch of games and do some Aaron Rodgers stuff and score some touchdowns and have a lot of fun. So I could speak for me. It definitely reinvigorated me as a fan and fired me up for this final stretch.
Absolutely. That's also like the most that we've seen Davante included in your offense this year, right? Since he's been acquired, right?
100%. He had 198 receiving yards, and 135 of them came in the final 4 minutes of the game. So it was just bizarre.
Oh my God.
He had one really good game. That was, I believe it was the Houston game, which was our last win too on Thursday Night Football, where he had this great connection with Rodgers on this game-winning touchdown down the right hash. But yeah, for the most part, Davante's just kind of had some sprinklings in and out, but that was an explosion. And again, kind of like what could have been for the Jets when you get flashes and glimpses of Davante and Rodgers still having it. So it was Davante Adams' best game, and quite frankly, the second best game of his career. It's the second most receiving yards he's had in his career, which is crazy to think about.
Dang, that's awesome, man. Yeah, it was one of those where when the move was made, Davante Adams goes to the Jets, and it kind of just peek over at the calendar, how far are we out for that one? It's are they going to be established by then and stuff? And it does seem like it. It does seem like that Rodgers to Davante Adams connection is starting to really thrive. But there's also another guy on the field in Garrett Wilson, who I've always been a big fan of. I think he's extremely talented, and I don't think he's really gotten the love I think that he deserves throughout the rest of the league. And it's, I don't say this as a burn, but maybe it's because he's on the Jets. And but he's extremely talented. I do see that comment that he had on the sideline. You can kind of read his lips. He's like, if it's a one-on-one, you throw the fade. It's like, dang, he's right. I mean, yeah. But Garrett and Davante together, has that kind of been, has it been a little bumpy, or has it just been smooth sailing?
It's an interesting question because, like, on the surface, Garrett Wilson struggled earlier in the year when he was the only guy. The Jets drafted him as a top 10 pick to be Batman. And they thought he could be Batman by himself and he didn't need any sidekick and he would figure it out. And while he certainly had moments, the numbers are good considering he's been on this Jets team that's been really bad and there hasn't been a lot of great quarterbacks throwing him the football before. Aaron Rodgers this season, he had caught passes from 7 different quarterbacks. So it's just been a musical chairs of action happening for him. But quite frankly, since Davante Adams showed up on the Jets, he finally had, I was going to call him Robin, but maybe it's Batman to Batman, some sort of a weird, like Spider-Man, all of them showed up of Tobey Maguire and, the Andrew guy and everybody else. They're all there like, oh, wow, we got a lot of Spider-Mans here. So it's almost like they had multiple Batmans, and it actually helped Garrett Wilson because now defenses had to make decisions, business decisions. We can't just double team Garrett every play now. Oh man, we got to either try to focus in on Davante or focus in on Garrett, and that opened up Garrett. I bring up that Houston game that Davante had the crazy game. It's also the catch of the year for Garrett Wilson, where he went Air Jordan in the end zone and really had a lot of big plays himself. So the duo's been exciting. And again, it's that same sort of thing with the Jets out of playoff contention. Mm-hmm. The Jets technically have Davante Adams under contract for the next 2 years, but the number is so wild, they're going to have to rework it. But it has Jet fans and coaches and people on the team saying, man, we need to bring this duo back. This is a dynamic duo with them together. And I think it is, to your point, Garrett Wilson is super talented, and people that know ball and love ball recognize that Garrett Wilson is really good, but he's on this crappy Jets team, and that has obviously limited his production. He's not putting up Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase numbers because of the quarterback play prior to this season, and the Jets have sucked, so he hasn't been getting the national spotlight either. So, I don't think everyone realizes how good Garrett is, but the few that do really understand the special qualities he brings to the game.
Absolutely. I mean, it's no Puka and Cooper, but it's a great combo.
Not too shabby. Yeah, the Rams are cooking over there.
Yeah, man. Actually, I want to do a quick sidebar just based on a quick comment that you made there. And this actually brings me back to an old argument that I had with some coworkers years ago. Okay. The plural of Batman, is it Batmans or Batmen?
That's a good question that I hadn't thought about till right now, but I would assume Batmans, not Batmen. Because, I mean, to me, it would have to be Batmans. There's more than one Batman. I mean, I get it. It's kind of like octopus, octopi. There's different, plural possibilities. I'm gonna settle in on what I said, and I'm gonna double down. I'm gonna go Batmans.
Fair enough. Yeah, we argued loudly about this.
Which side were you on?
What's hilarious is I have no idea. I do not remember. But it was one of those arguments where it was like I picked a side and I was just going with it. You know what I mean? Like I was just
I'm living and dying on that sword. I respect that.
Yeah. Just because of that, I'm gonna go Batman. Just so.
Okay. Yeah.
There you go.
Fans appreciate that.
You had mentioned, bringing back Davante and stuff like that. Is Rodgers a Jet does he only have 3 more Jet games left in him?
It's funny that we're doing this interview in this pocket of time right when it's happening, because I just finished the Aaron Rodgers documentary Enigma on Netflix. It's a 3-part documentary series, and I wasn't sure when I was going to watch it. I've got 2 kids, and they're like an hour plus a piece. I'm like, I want to watch this for my job and everything, but I'm like, boy, when am I going to have the time for this? And while we were all sitting out there, my fiance was just like, hey, do you want to? You heard about this Aaron Rodgers documentary? I'm like, really? Sure. And then we just got sucked in, and we were watching it. And it's something I've gone back and forth on of whether I want Aaron Rodgers back, or, to your point, regardless of what I want, what is actually going to happen. And there have been moments this season where Aaron Rodgers has like 30 yards passing in the first half. You're like, good Lord, this old man's washed. He just doesn't have it anymore, which is disappointing. And, maybe the Jets fans are just never going to get the season they wanted. But seeing Aaron Rodgers the last 2 weeks, he had his first 300-yard game in 3 years, 2 games ago. And then this past game, he threw for 289. And now he's on pace to shatter all these Jets quarterback records, which may be more of an insult to Jets past quarterbacks versus a crazy season that Aaron Rodgers is having. But after the Enigma thing, I quote The Sopranos, just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in. Now all of a sudden I'm all for Aaron Rodgers coming back, baby, run the shit back, Davante and everybody. Again, there's going to be a new head coach and general manager no matter what, because the Jets have already fired the previous guys and Robert Saleh and Joe Douglas in those spots. To me, though, I think it's a combination of, I think Aaron Rodgers is just the best guy that's going to be available. There's only 2 free agent options. It's Russell Wilson and Sam Darnold. I imagine Russell Wilson staying in Pittsburgh. And I don't know if old Sammy wants to have a reunion with the Jets, and I wouldn't blame him if he doesn't. There should be a lot of viable suitors out there. And then we're talking about Mac Jones, Justin Fields, weird options that are available, or Matthew Stafford, if you guys are going to trade him, Yeah. So,
I was actually going to reference our QB2, Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oh, no, thank you. I appreciate that. It's like I come into a store. Damn it, I'm walking out of here, Matthew Stafford. Well, we've got Jimmy Garoppolo. Okay, let's talk. Like the negotiations just went down from there. But no, in all seriousness, the quarterback options aren't really attractive outside of what is going to be available. The Jets won against the Jaguars. For some fans, the tanking draft crowd. I know we've been on opposite sides of draft conversations over the year, Joe, which I remember fondly. And with that win, it keeps the Jets out of the top quarterback running, which eliminates that option. So now I think the Jets and Rodgers may look at each other in the mirror this offseason and say, hey, we're the best option for each other in this pocket of time. Let's go. And I think that's ultimately where they settle.
It'll be really interesting to see with a new regime coming in. I know GM interviews have already, started and stuff like that, and some really interesting options that they're already talking to. So I would guess that he's not going to be back, that a new regime is going to want a guy, or they start with him for 1 year and then know that the following year they're going to get their guy, and then that's when their regime really begins. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, I think that's the correct read on it, because, and here's the problem of why the new regime may just lean towards hitting the eject button, because it's, if you watch this Enigma Aaron Rodgers documentary, it's not just Joe Branham's playing quarterback for the Jets. It's Sheriff Joe Bags is playing quarterback for the Jets. There's a extra personality. When you have a team that has Aaron Rodgers on it, it's the Aaron Rodgers universe, and we're all just living in it. So it's beyond him just playing quarterback. There's so much to him with his personality and his stances on things and things of that nature, that he's this polarizing figure. So he's not just a football player. If he was just a football player, I think it'd be an easier decision for the new regime based on everything we just said about quarterback options being available. But because he has an entire thing to him, it's got to be a full conversation for the new regime coming in. So we'll see. It'll be up to the new regime, because the Jets, there's no guaranteed money left on Aaron Rodgers' contract. So the team controls his future. If they want to move on, they can just cut him. If they want to move on, they could trade him, they could do something of that nature, or if they want to bring him back, they can bring him back because he's still under contract for 2025.
Do you think there's any part of it that is going to be on his side of the decision to say, maybe I want to go somewhere else, or maybe I want to stop playing?
Yeah, both of those options are on the table. At the end of the Aaron Rodgers documentary that I keep referencing, he said, this could be the last year, or maybe it's not. And then smiles, and then scene. And it was just kind of funny.
That is the most Aaron Rodgers thing of all time, right? That is how that has to end. Of course.
Yeah, that was good. And it just had him running off the field week 1. The Jets were at the 49ers. It just had Aaron Rodgers going like this, running into the tunnel, and then fade to black, scene. Of course, the more, that I just kind of study Aaron Rodgers this year, there are moments where you're like, man, I think he wants to just hang him up. It is what it is. Because one of the things that he came out of this Achilles surgery from, only playing 4 snaps in 2023, was he has like a mission from the gods to play all 17. And it looks like, barring some crazy injury, he will do that this year. And maybe that's enough for him to just say, I came back from the Achilles. I played in all 17. I proved that I can do this. Thanks, everybody. I'm walking away. But there's another part of him that says, damn, we have the lost year of 2023. We have the lost year of the Jets just sucked this year, coaching, defense falling apart. There's all kinds of reasons that it all fell on its face. And Rodgers convincing himself, well, one more time with this team and whatever staff comes in, I still think we can do this. So 100% he holds cards if he decides to retire, or if to your point, the new regime comes in and says, nah, we don't want Rodgers. that Rodgers has the same darkness retreat thing, says, I could see myself playing for another team. It would have to be the right situation, though, because Aaron Rodgers is a unique individual, and he is not a puzzle piece that I think fits with every team. It'd have to be the right situation if the Jets wanted to move on, and then he wanted to continue playing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's really interesting to see that kind of unfold here. But I want to kind of bring back to the matchup that we've got going on.
Yes.
You had mentioned something real quick there about our differences in getting ready for the draft while you still got some games going on. Oh, yeah. Sidebar. Aaron Rodgers does have to get past the what we now call the fearsome 2020 foursome of the Rams front. By the way, Jared Verse is coming for blood.
That's a lot of Florida State blood. I've got a Joe, you do this wonderful Rams show. I have a Jets version of the show, and I have a caller on my show. His name is Ricky New York, but he's actually a Florida State fan, and all which is very confusing. But all draft long, he was saying Braden Fisk, Jared Verse, guys, that's where we got to go, and it didn't happen for the Jets. And then both end up on the Rams. And he, after the draft, he was like, "Dude, the Rams just won the draft." And a lot of people just kind of brushed it aside, said, "Yeah, okay, they lost Aaron Donald, whatever, man." And then wow, it's been pretty impressive. The Rams drafting. Speaking of the draft, it's been really impressive. Yeah. Kobe Turner. I mean, they've just had so many finds. It's been impressive.
That's another reason I don't care about just getting as high as possible. There's gems all throughout. So, I mean, just go find them. But yeah, getting back to this game. And I know you mentioned the draft, situation there. And that actually kind of came into play big time the last time these two teams met, where the Jets pulled out a 23-20 win, and it cost them the number 1 pick. You were mad about that, right? Or were you one of the ones that were happy?
It's funny, as I go back to that time and I was doing video shows. I had just that may have been the season that I got into YouTube video shows, 2020. Yeah, because 2019 he was Jets were 7-9, 2020 they're 2-14. So it's funny. So it documented my journey. And there was a Jets Raiders game at the end that the Jets were leading. And Greg Williams, the then Jets defense coordinator, called an all-out blitz on 4th down, and Derek Carr chucked up a bomb to Henry Ruggs at the time. We'll talk about a story. And Henry Ruggs catches the game-winning touchdown, and Jet fans were celebrating because, oh, thank goodness, the Raiders beat the Jets so we could continue our tank for Trevor Lawrence. And I remember all the conflicting emotions of that because, you have this devastating last-second loss. And Jet fans like, woo, there we go, baby, right on track. But it goes to show. And it goes to show you, Joe, exactly what you just said about, right? You never know with drafts. Nothing's guaranteed. Oh, the greatest prospect since Peyton Manning and all this other crap that people say. And let's be honest, Trevor Lawrence is one of the most overrated players in football. He's the second highest paid quarterback at $55 million per year, and he has not lived up to the unbelievable hype. I know he didn't. It's not his responsibility for the hype that was created, but it is what it is. He was supposed to be the greatest thing since Andrew Luck or Peyton Manning or this, that. The Jaguars themselves haven't done a lot of winning, and anytime they've had minimal winning, it's all kind of floundered out. So, and that entire draft class ended up sucking. Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, Mac Jones are all on new teams. So I think I've evolved. I think back then I couldn't help but tank for Trevor Lawrence. There was a singular target in that draft. Everyone said, the greatest prospect since whatever. There isn't that juice this year. And I think the other thing that changed is the Jets beating the Jaguars. And now that their chances for this top pick or number 2 pick are over, they're dead. Mm-hmm. Now that the Jets have won the games they've won and how the draft all sets up, the Jets are going to be picking somewhere between 6 and 10 ultimately. So I think that, quite frankly, alleviates a lot of pressure, Joe, heading into this game, that we could just focus on what we were supposed to be focused on, winning games, scoring touchdowns, and not caring about that sort of stuff. So I think a lot of wind is out of the sails. If the Jets would have lost to the yes, because I have to think twice to make sure I'm saying the right tanking terms. If the Jets would have lost to the Jaguars and they created this great draft position because the Jaguars would have went behind them because they had the same record, heading into this, everyone would have been talking about what you're talking about, Joe, of the Trevor Lawrence demons, Braden Mann, the Jets punter at the time, making the tackle and all that.
Dude, yeah, going into this game too against the Rams would have been a hilarious situation to be if you guys had come up with a loss and been close to the top there. But we've already touched on the Jets offensive side, and I know we didn't really hit on the running attack or anything like that, but we don't need to. It's not there. I want to just down your team, man. Not even 90 yards a game. Not even 90 yards a game, Paul. Come on, man. But
And
anyway,
Jet fans were so hyped too, because before the year, Jeremy Fowler did this ESPN ranking where he talks to everyone around the league, and they said Breece Hall is the second best running back in football and the best running back under 25. So Jet fans are going crazy. Oh, Breece Hall, watch out, world! Breece Hall's coming. And Chris McCaffrey has the injuries. We're like, okay, Breece Hall's about to be the best running back in football, and unfortunately, for a variety of reasons, that hasn't worked out this year, and he's come back down to earth. So yeah, the running game, which was supposed to be a foundational pillar of this Jets team, has been anything but in 2024.
That does happen. We've seen that on our side plenty of times. But going to your defense, man. Do you have like one or two guys that on the defensive side that you think could have a bigger impact than any Rams fans might be giving them credit for?
I'll say a name that maybe it's going to sound obvious if you look at the box score. You're going to be like, yeah, Paul, we know who that is. But a lot of people don't. It's Will McDonald, who's the first round draft choice from 2 years ago. He was a 15th overall pick. Everyone thought the Jets overdrafted this second or third round pick or late first rounder, and Will McDonald got a lot of crap. The Jets didn't play him a lot in his rookie year, so he got even more crap. Like, geez, another bust by the Jets. And this year he has 10 sacks. He is up there with the most single season sacks the Jets have had in the 21st century. He's only 2 or 3 sacks behind the top guy, which was John Abraham back in 2001. So he's had a disruptive year. So he's 100% on the list. Another guy, again, if you look at the stats, maybe the name will jump out, but for casual people, it won't. Jamien Sherwood is third in the NFL in tackles this year. He's a former safety out of Auburn that transitioned to linebacker. That was kind of like a Jets calling card with Robert Saleh at the top, but drafting these safeties and then immediately converting them to other positions. And it took Jamien a long time to get his weight right. He blew out his Achilles in one of his early rookie years. And then because of all the injuries at linebacker, Jamien became a full-time starter. And again, being top 3 in tackles has been this crazy evolution for Jamien Sherwood. So lesser names, a mid-round draft choice that's become an interesting linebacker who's set to be a free agent. Will McDonald certainly on that list. And another player I would probably highlight is Quantez Stickers, who got his first NFL start last week, a former Canadian football player that never played college football. He's got a wild story that his father passed away, early in life. Because of, a situation with his family. And then Quantez pulled out of college when he was going to go. He went into fan-controlled football, 7-on-7 football, because his mother saw an ad on Facebook and said, "Oh, honey, you need to join that football thing." And he's like, "All right, Mom." He does that, sort of impresses. Canadian Football League gives him a call. He tries out for the Canadian Football League, wins Rookie of the Year in the CFL, and then after the season, they find out he's actually eligible for the draft instead of just signing as a free agent. The Jets take him late in the 5th round, and he's just been this really impressive kid behind the scenes, but because of the Jets' depth at corner, they haven't given him a chance until this past week. So a lot of people are excited in the building for Quantez Stickers, who has a chance to be a future starter in this league.
That'll be really exciting and a really good test for him coming into this game because I mean we talk about the top 2 of 10 and 17. I talk about those guys all the time, obviously, but not only that, but you also got Demarcus Robinson, Tutu Atwell, these guys' depth, and then also this is the first game that Tyler Higbee is returning since the playoffs last year. So we get Big Rig Higgs in there. So yeah, it'll be a good test for him. Even taking out 10 and 17, there is some talent to cover on this Rams offense. So as we
I guess I would just jump in to say, Joe, I don't think you have to take out one of those numbers. I think they took themselves out with 0 catches last week, which a lot of fantasy football people were pretty PO'd about. Mr. Joe Branham,
too, and I don't care. You know why? Brutal. Because you see him blocking, dude. The value is there, man.
What points do you get for that? Run blocking in fantasy. That's what I want to
know. He helped the Rams win the way that he needed to, which was that was it. I don't know what to tell you, man.
Brutal.
Watch him go off. He's gonna have like 19 catches this week. So
that's probably true. Yeah, that's probably true.
But as we kind of wrap up here, man, I just want to see. I know kind of how I feel like this game might go, especially considering the temperature. Kyron's playing really well. The Rams have gone back to having some jet sweeps and stuff like that. So I feel like we'll see kind of a slower game, a little bit low scoring, stuff like that. I want to see on your side, what do you kind of expect from this matchup, considering where the Jets are at, where the Rams are at, and how both teams are looking right now?
It's funny. I completely feel the opposite. So that's the great thing about this high scoring thing. The Jets defense, how do I put this politically correct? I mean, this thing is just dead. I mean, the Rams are going to moonwalk up and down the field scoring points, unless weather suddenly becomes a factor. Of course, you always have to keep that in mind with December and everything else that with random weather conditions that could come into play here. The Jets defense stinks this year. It had been the calling card for the Jets over the last couple of years, and really the reason that they had been in the position they were and where people said they were just a quarterback away. So the defense sucks. So I imagine Matthew Stafford and this exciting Rams offense with playmakers all over the place is going to have their way with this Jets defense. And that's going to put Aaron Rodgers in positions in both good and bad. The good is he could chase all these passing numbers. The bad is we just talked about some of these Rams defenders that are going to be licking their chops with a potential one-sided score to be able to kind of take advantage of some of those matchups. So I actually see it. I don't know if it quite gets to Rams-Bills action happening there, but Aaron Rodgers and the Jets just scored 30-plus points for the first time on offense this past week, and a lot of that damage came in the second half. So if the Jets can play a more complete game, so to speak, of actually showing up in a first half and showing some actual chutzpah here, I actually think this game's going to be more high-scoring, and it's going to be exciting. I think there's going to be a lot of points going around all over the place, but I would imagine, as it is with Vegas, the Rams are the favorite in this game. To be honest, I'm surprised they're not a bigger favorite. I think it was the opening line was like 3.5, 4 points for the Rams. I thought they were going to be a touchdown plus favorite, to be honest with you, heading into this game. So that surprised me a bit. But yeah, I anticipate a lot of high scoring, a lot of big plays. And again, maybe weather factors in at some point, which maybe could cap some of that. But yeah, excitement, I think, between these two veteran quarterbacks.
I mean, high of 23. And this, I mean, the Rams have had to play in places like Chicago and stuff like that this year, but those were early in the season. We got lucky this whole year with weather games and stuff like that. But kind of wrapping up here, man, do you have a score prediction? I feel like it's going to be opposite of mine, so that's cool.
It may be, yeah. Apparently, I'm going to be like 40,000 to 30,000. You're like, 6-3. Okay, yeah. Here we go. We actually had one of those in our Jets Rams past 9-6. That's right.
That was not long ago.
Yeah, unbelievable. Yeah, I have this game being a crazy shootout, and I have the Jets beating the Rams, baby, 35-32.
I love the optimism. I think the Rams just got into first place in the NFC West. I think they're going to be coming to play these last 3 games. This is our last road game of the year. We know that. We get to come home for the last 2. I'm going to say the Rams win this one 23-10.
Oh, good Lord. How about this, Joe? Let's spice this up. Okay. All your words of like, oh, it's going to be this prediction or this prediction. Yeah. How about we lay it on the line? Let's lay some lumber. Let's get a bet on the line. Jets, Rams, let's go. You obviously think the Rams are going to win? Absolutely. And I know the Jets are going to win, so let's go. Let's put something on the line, pal.
Here's what I got for you, Paul. I see you've got a pretty nice backdrop there.
Thank you. Yes.
We tend to do that. We tend to have cool things back here. Oh. So say, for example, hypothetically speaking,
sure,
the Jets win this game.
Yeah,
what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to purchase a Jets mini helmet.
Okay.
I'm going to sign that, Sheriff Joe Bags, and then that'll be headed your way.
Wow. And so in some mythical, magical world that obviously isn't going to happen where the Rams won the game, you would want me to buy a Rams helmet and sign that Boy Green and whatever that made-up score would be in fairy tale land and slap a date on it and then ship it back to you so you could proudly display that in your man cave office.
I'll even replace this one with that one. Right there.
Oh, beautiful. I actually got a Jets mini helmet right here, so I guess I can replace that one with yours that is coming because obviously the Jets are going to beat the Rams.
So that's the black one. Which, hypothetically speaking, which one would you want?
That's a good point. I think I'd want it, cleaner, more obvious for the fan because like the black could kind of fade in the background, like a bright green of the Jet helmet. And for you, I would imagine, the yellow perhaps, or even there where you get old school.
You do the yellow with the blue horns. I think that would be that'd be kind of nice.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. Okay, where that's bright and shiny.
Dude, Paul, thank you so much for taking time, man. I think that by the timing this is coming out, I'll be posting on socials and stuff like that, but I'll be hopping on with you as well. But I'll post that on the Ram Showcase social. So keep your eyes open for that, and of course we'll get that shared out and all that. So, dude, Paul, man, we got a big old football game going on this weekend, man. It's gonna be a fun one, man. We don't get these enough.
I know. I'm so excited. Joe, we've known each other for a long time without ever having met, which when I explain that to people, they're like, huh? Who? What? So when that eventually happens, it's going to be awesome. But even still, the fact that it hasn't, it feels like every time that we talk, it's been a while. It's been like 2 seconds. So we're just talking all over the place about everything. So, yeah, man, I love these games. It's awesome. And I can't wait for the Jets to kick the Rams patookie. Yeah.
Yeah, we will see what happens on Sunday. All right, man. Thank you so much again, man, for joining me. For Boy Green, I am Sheriff Joe Baggs. We'll get right